Do you have any friends that have
Right.
children?
Yes, I do.
And do they have boys?
Yes.
Do
Boys
they
and
have
girls.
do you have any
Hmm.
friends that have boys and girls?
Yeah.
I guarantee you
Yes.
they treat their. I guarantee you they baby their boys. And if you ask the boy and the girl, I guarantee the daughter is like she's easy on him.
Hmm.
Yep, they baby their boys.
That is true.
So,
And even from my own, I guess from my own background
hmm,
with my brother and being raised as my mom was a single
hmm,
parent,
hmm.
and I have brothers and sisters, and she always treated my brother like her baby,
Hmm.
like that. So
Was he
I
older
get
or
it.
younger than you?
He's younger.
Did you resent that?
When I was younger, I did.
Yes,
I
I
did.
know.
I really
I
felt like, oh my
know.
gosh, like she treated him like, you
I
know,
know. I've sat
he could
down
do
and
no
counseled
wrong.
many women with this, and see,
Hmm.
they're compensating with their boys. And here's
Hmm.
the thing, and they're not doing it on purpose. See, your mother
Mm.
did. Your mother is trying to make sure that you can protect yourself and defend yourself and not need no man because it's rough out here. She didn't tell you to
Right.
go become somebody's wife. She raised you to be
Right.
independent. Then she raised
Right.
her son to be a softer man. So,
That's true.
so look at the two of you. You go out in the world hard. Your brother goes out in the
Hmm.
world soft. And we wonder
Soft.
why these two
Yes.
groups can't get together.
You're right.
Yes, sir. You just found it. In course with you. Let's chat. Welcome to the Intercourse Show. I'm your host, Mr. B. Today we have a very exciting show for you. We have a Kevin Samuels reaction video. And this video is him advising a 38-year-old woman on the importance of stop fighting. I haven't seen this video before, so let's jump right into it and give our feedback.
Hi,
Hey,
Kevin. How are you?
I am well.
Hi.
What you got for me?
Yeah, I have a question for you actually. I wanted to know if you would be able to explain to me why is it that um most men, not all, have a feminine quality to them.
Okay.
And I do know I hear a lot of guys say that, females have this masculine energy as well. But I would
Hmm.
like to know, do you have an answer for that?
Yes. Yes. How old are you?
I'm 38.
38. All right.
Hmm.
Okay. So if you've been hanging around my channel, you know that 8 out of 10 black children are raised by their mother.
Right.
Okay. So 8 out of 10 black men are raised by mama. The
Hmm.
first time they encounter a masculine presence is usually in authority because there are not a lot of black male school teachers. So in their developmental years in daycare and elementary, you don't see a lot of male elementary teachers, do you? The first time they encounter men tends to be junior high or high school, and that tends to be some sort of athletics coach. If a guy doesn't get into athletics, the first time he's
Hmm.
going to see male role models tends to be late in his academic life. So he's raised around to a lot of women. Okay, in the schools today, there's no more recess. So boys are actually in the classrooms taught to sit and conduct themselves like girls. Boys aren't allowed to go out and run, tear up stuff, and stink because it's looked
Right.
at toxic masculinity. Okay. Then you see the average
Hmm.
mother. The average mother wants to keep her son safe. So she's not going to
Hmm.
put her son in martial arts, anything that's going to get him bumped and bruised. Do you have any friends that have
Right.
children?
Yes, I do.
And do they have boys?
Yes. Boys and girls.
Do you have any
Hmm.
friends that have boys and girls?
Yeah.
I guarantee you
Yes.
I guarantee you they baby their boys. And if you ask the boy and the girl, I guarantee the daughter is like, she's easy on him.
Hmm.
Yep. They baby their boys.
That is true.
So,
And even from my own, I guess from my own background
mhm,
with my brother and being raised as a, my mom was a single
mhm,
parent, and
mhm,
I have brothers and sisters, and she always treated my brother like her baby, like,
mhm.
that. So
Was he
I
older
get
or
it.
younger than you?
He's younger.
Did you resent that?
When I was younger, I did.
Yes,
I
I
did.
know.
I really
I
felt like, oh my
know.
gosh, like she treated him like, you
I
know,
know. I've sat
he could
down
do
and
no
counseled
wrong.
many women with this. And see,
Hmm.
they're compensating with their boys. And
Hmm.
here's the other thing, and they're not doing it on purpose. See,
Hmm.
your mother is trying to make sure that you can protect yourself and defend yourself and not need no man because it's rough out here. She didn't tell you to
Right.
go become somebody's wife. She raised you to be
Right.
independent. Then she raised
Right.
her son to be a softer man. So,
That's true.
so look at the two of you. You go out in the world hard. Your brother goes out in the
Hmm.
world soft. And we wonder
Soft.
why these two
Yes.
groups can't get together.
You're right.
I was raised the same
You're
way.
right.
See, I had to actively fight against it. And here's the thing: I need black women to understand. We know you're not doing it on purpose, but it doesn't matter because black women raise the very men they cannot stand. These softer guys. So at
Mm.
38 years old, do you have children yourself?
No.
Okay.
No.
So are you looking to get married or what?
No, if it's in God's plan, I don't rush nothing. No, it's
I,
just
I didn't hear
if the
you.
right person comes along, then hey, yes.
Now, you know who you're talking to. You talk to a girl like, oh, I can't see you. Do you want to be somebody's wife or not?
Yeah, yeah. I think that would be every man's. I mean, every woman's like, dream, right? To get married.
Well, but sis,
That's what we're here for.
but sis,
So,
but sis, notice how even when I asked you the question, you were hesitant to double down on. You were like, I can't say that because that's just so unrealistic for me as a black woman.
sorry that I hesitated, but yeah,
But
yeah, I
no, I
definitely want to get
understand it.
married
I
one day.
understand why.
Mhm.
Sis, I understand why you did it because it's like,
Mhm.
hell yeah, I want to be married just like everybody else in the world. But
Mhm.
see, and that's what hurts so many of our women because you won't go ahead and just say, yeah, I want to be married. Yeah, I'm tired of this bullshit. I'm tired of this. Yes, I want all that. See,
Yeah.
if we can get you guys to admit that part, then we can have a
Mhm.
conversation. Then we can say, okay, if you know you want that, then what are you willing to bring to the table in order to get that from because most black women don't want to work after they get married, especially after they have a child.
Mm.
I know. I mean,
I
go ahead.
I guess I agree with you on that one
I
in a
say when
way.
they don't.
I
When
have
I
a lot
say
of friends
don't
on
want
here
to have
tonight
to work.
listening to your show. So, we have talks like this all the time.
Hmm.
And I agree with you on one part of that, and I agree and I don't,
Okay.
you
When I
know.
say don't want to
It
work,
depends.
what I mean is they don't want to have to work to pay significant bills.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay. So that's what I mean. I don't mean you want to sit at home and live an unproductive life to where you just all are. What I mean is you want black women want their men to have 100% mindset to where he's taking care of everything. And she is not
Mhm.
required to go out and work to pay significant bills, although she will go
Right.
work to add to whatever he's already doing. But it's him that she wants to do everything. She wants to
Hmm.
rest in that fact. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Do you agree with
Yeah, I
that?
agree with that.
And
I
that's
agree
all.
with that.
And I just said it a shortened way. I just said it a shortened way.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
see, so many black women were raised like you to where you have a hard time even um, admitting some of these things because in the wrong places you'd be called a pick me. Women would call you a fool. Girl, you stupid. You want a man to take care of you? You get savaged by saying a lot of this shit.
Mm.
Eh,
Well, I have real girlfriends that keep it real with me. I only
okay,
keep real people around me,
cool.
and they're honest with me. And I've never, I keep it real with them. I keep it 100 with them all the time too. So yeah, we admitted. I had admitted that before,
Mm-hmm.
and I know, I wasn't called any names or anything. It was
Well,
just
you know what I
like,
mean
all
in
right,
general. I mean it just like in general, not around your people.
probably in general. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at being 38 years old, you know, a lot of sisters think it's too late.
Mm, some of them do, some of them don't. Yeah.
So,
But I guess if you're talking in general, yeah, you're right.
well, if you want, so if that's what you want, how long have you known you wanted to be married?
Um, all my life, I guess. Yeah. Since I was little.
Okay, and you went to college.
That's like I think that's every girl's childhood
Yeah.
dream, I would think.
Well,
You know.
the thing is, it is, but black women aren't
There
raised.
are very few women that I have met and spoke to that actually admitted to, no, I never want to get married.
Right.
Very few though.
But then when you
Yeah.
ask the follow up question, did your mother raise you to be a wife?
Mm. No, she didn't.
Right. So did you?
No.
Are you a college educated sister?
Yes, I am.
All right. And what area of the country? Northeast, southwest?
I'm actually in the East.
Okay. So if you know since you're a
Yeah.
little girl that you would love to be married,
Hmm.
are you dating men on that level?
I'm not even dating right now. No.
Okay. Care to share why?
Right now, I'm not even dating. No. Well, because I was at one point, and I
Mhm.
was doing the online thing. It just wasn't working out,
Okay.
and I was like, you know what? Let me just get off this online thing. It got to be a little too much. And I was like, this is not,
Mm.
it wasn't. I guess from my point of view, I wasn't seeing the right type of men.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell the
I
truth.
guess I was thinking that they were playing games,
Right.
like, but I get it. There's a lot of women out there, so there's a lot of
No.
competition.
Hold on. Guys, get
So,
the likes up, and we're gonna need at least another 10 people to put something in the chat because we got something here. Okay.
Mhm.
Let me tell you one thing that I do know.
Okay.
Blake Henry and Blue Henry are not online.
Okay.
They're not. You know where they're at?
Where they're at?
They're out in the world killing shit.
Where are they at?
They're out in the world killing shit.
Oh Lord.
They're out in the world. They're out in
Those
the
are
world
ones that are
fighting.
riots right now.
No. They're out in the world competing against other men. They're out working.
Oh, competing against them.
Yeah,
Working.
Blake and
Okay.
Blue are out
All
putting
right.
in 16, 12, 16-hour days. They ain't online.
Mhm.
The guys you find online, now I'm online, but I do it for a reason because it's also as market research for my business. But you don't tend to find high stakes men there, just like you don't tend to find dime pieces online,
Mhm.
because they got a plethora of men. So from what I'm hearing
Mhm.
from you, you're a college educated sister. You know what you
Right.
wanted, but yet
Yeah.
in the East, are you in the tri-state area?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Mhm.
very competitive up there, and
Mhm.
you haven't been able to find the caliber of man you want. So it's almost like a lot of sisters in your with your demographic tend to kind of give up. It's like
Yeah. That is true.
it's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I didn't find him in college for whatever reason, and then while all my white counterparts were getting married in their 20s and early 20s and going to baby showers and shit, we were talking about going on girl trips and such and so forth. Then you look up at 30 and it still hasn't happened,
Mhm.
and you don't end that desire. But human nature is like this: when you touch a hot pot, you pull your finger back because it hurts. So when you keep touching relationships that don't work, you pull back. And what do?
Right.
A lot of sisters go get additional degrees, double down in their careers,
Mhm.
start doing this whole, girls trip or whatever. But all it tends to happen
Yeah.
is they end up running more the clock out. And the closer you
Yeah.
get to 40, you have
Mhm.
more negative or unfulfilled experiences than you do fulfilled ones. So it's easy to sit back and say, well, it ain't happened to this point. Is it ever going to happen? I mean, no one wants to admit
Right.
that out loud, but it's just a numbers thing. I mean, you're an intelligent woman. You can sit back and say, I'm closer to 40 than I'm 25. So
Right.
when is it ever going to happen? And I will say this,
Mhm.
that my mother was 52, 51 when she got married.
Mm.
And she
I
was
have
a
a friend that actually just got married at 50. So she was had the same mentality. Like, is it ever gonna happen? And it happened for her.
right.
And
So
I'm so happy for her.
what I'm
So
getting
I don't give up. Like, I'm not giving up
what
on
I'm getting to is two things for
her.
sisters like you. One,
Mhm,
when you run across, I'll just call them the Henrys. When you run across Keith Henry, can you
mhm.
can you judge him just based on him and not everything else? That's one. Number two,
Okay.
are you ready to stop fighting? Are you ready to go ahead and fall into it? Does that make
Not
sense?
fighting. What does that? Because
Means it means that it's not uncommon for black women, women in general, black women in particular, to have to be very accomplished by this age.
right.
Okay, then you meet a guy like say somebody like myself.
Mhm,
Um, I don't care about your money or anything else like that. If you're my woman, that doesn't matter.
mhm.
Would you be willing to reset the clock and be the woman you could have been at 23?
Yeah. Hmm.
Then you're ready.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And see, you've heard women on my channel talk about, I didn't want to move, I didn't want to do this, I didn't want to do that.
I heard that one. Yeah.
Somebody's going, yeah, think about it. You're almost 40. You're going to be looking for
Mhm,
guys who are older than you because you want men, you're hypergamous. Let's be real. You're going to want them to have at least what you have, if not more, because you want to get into living this life that you haven't had for so long.
mhm,
All right. That means somebody's going to have to move. You got a house, he
mhm.
got a house. You got a brownstone, you're going to have to go. Things are going to have to be
Mhm.
given up in quick order. And it's like, well, I've
You're gonna
been
have to make sacrifices. Sacrifices.
compromises. You don't want to make sacrifice.
Sacrifices. I can't
Yeah,
say.
you don't want to make
Compromises.
yeah, you don't want to make
Yeah. For
sacrifices.
what we want.
Sacrifices lead to resentment. Compromises means you're trying to win. Let's say I was on the Upper West Side and you're in the brownstone in Brooklyn. Okay,
Mhm,
you moving to the Upper East Side. That's where you're going.
mhm.
I'm not going to Brooklyn. You're going to the Upper East Side because I'm putting in the 16-hour days. Okay.
Right.
But the net of it is you'll figure out how to live in Manhattan and do what it is. Now you'll see and and the thing is, a lot of times women get so into what if it don't work? Then I got to give all that up. That's the fear. Are you
Right.
willing to put the
I agree.
fear of it not working down? And that's why I always stress doing that mental work first and almost
Mhm.
resetting it back to being optimistic like you were when you were a younger woman.
Hmm. I got you.
Got it? That's what a lot of
Yep.
men talk about when they talk about, are you ready? What do you bring to the table? Are you ready to give up the
Mhm.
fight? And
Okay.
one thing, and hopefully, as more and more of these conversations start to be had, more women
Mhm.
can start to see more men on their level having conversations with each other. Men having conversations with men, not having conversations with women. See, you can judge a lot by men by how we talk to one another. And that's what y'all really
Yeah.
do. When y'all see men working and building, y'all just lay back in the cut and say, he can say anything he wants to me because he's just trying to get in. But if he's over
Mhm.
there working with somebody, okay, he's keeping it real with these dudes. Okay, those dudes stamp him as being an alpha male, a builder. Okay. Then you're more likely than not to lower your guard and actually
Mhm.
let him do what he needs to do. Does that make sense?
Right.
That's
No,
what
it makes a lot of
that's what you
sense.
don't find online because it always feels like game
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
because you don't see it.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
again, I'm not a dating coach. I'm an image consultant and a life coach, but I do have a lot of men around me and clients that are looking for the same kind of things you guys are looking for. And I found it
Mhm.
interesting that you can't find him and he can't find you. But when men find
Yeah.
each other and start working together, women tend to find those spaces. That's why it's more women over here now.
Hmm.
So,
Right.
well,
Okay.
did you join the Facebook group?
Okay. So that was Kevin Samuels. And I think he gave some really, really good advice to this young lady, 38 years old. She seemed pretty open to receiving advice. It seemed like she had some good questions. She's 38. She's seeking to be married for whatever reason. It hasn't worked out for her. Kevin actually posed a couple of questions that I've, highlighted in the video. First being, are you willing to compromise? What he's saying is absolutely true. Even in dating for myself, at 40, you will find that a lot of women are not willing to compromise. They want to have a relationship on their terms. And it's not just for myself, but also for my peers and others. A lot of women they want to be married and they want a particular type of guy. But if that guy, requested that maybe they move closer to them or they leave their area or do something, to accommodate the person that they want to marry, i.e. move to the area where the guy, resides at, or, find some sort of compromise. A lot of times you find some reluctancy, and there's been women who have been unwilling to pair themselves up with a man because maybe a job was calling them over there and the man lives over here. So if they had to choose between their job and the man, they chose the job, right? And now that opportunity passed itself, and the guy's moved on. He's got married. 10, 20 years into the job, they realize I missed out on something great. I probably should have went in a direction with that guy, but it's too late because they weren't willing to compromise. So my advice is in line with what Kevin is saying. You have to be willing to compromise. It doesn't mean that you have to settle, and it doesn't mean that you making compromises for everybody. You do have to be wise as to who you compromise for, but the older you are, I think the more you should be willing to compromise if indeed this is what you want. Because obviously, as you get older, your value proposition tends to diminish a little bit, right? If you're 25 and you're at peak age to have children, and you're not as hurt from all the failed relationships you've been through, you don't have baggage, you don't have children, those things make you more marketable to men who want women with less baggage. But if you're a little older and maybe you've been through some of those things, your value proposition ought to be something different from what the young 25-year-old is offering. So being willing to compromise, being willing to move, being willing to support the man, being willing to blend your life with him definitely gives you an advantage, and being older is not necessarily a disadvantage, right? When you're older, you're seasoned, maybe not as needy, you know yourself a little more, less headaches. And men tend to like that, right? Dealing with younger women, typically that comes with headaches. And sometimes guys don't want to put up with that stuff all the time. So that was one of the great advice that he gave her. The second question that he asked her was, are you ready to stop fighting? It is true. A lot of times it's human nature. We all get stuck in our ways. We have our point of view. We have our filters, and we see things the way we see it. And everybody wants to win. We're having a conversation. My point got to be the point that wins. And eventually it gets to a point where you have a contentious relationship. Is it advantageous for you seeking a relationship to fight every battle? Some of them are worthy of the fight and others are not. Be malleable, be cooperative, be friendly, be agreeable with your man. Don't always fight him for everything. Everything is not the end of the world. You don't have to blow every bridge if that man falls short of some expectation you had of him. You got to know when to pick your battles, and you got to know when to stop fighting. So that was a good advice that he gave her as well when he said that. He said, are you ready to stop fighting? Now, the last point that he raised has to do with, did your mother raise you to be a wife? A lot of times women are seeking to be wives, but they don't have anything to reference. Being a wife wasn't modeled for them at home, specifically in the Black community, where I believe 1 out of 4 women get married. And then from those marriages, the divorce rate's upwards of 50%, and 80% of those divorces are initiated by the women. because they've been taught to be single, independent, not needing a man. So you see a lot of women prioritizing their careers. You see a lot of women really kind of doing everything in their power to stabilize themselves and to be independent of a man. And then you hear the statements of, I don't need a man. But the more and more you say that, the more and more of a reality it becomes. A lot of that is rooted in the fact that you weren't raised to be a wife. Being raised to be a wife means there are certain skill sets that wives ought to have. They should be agreeable. They should be friendly. They should be cooperative. They should be supportive. They should be loving. They should be helpful. They should be a helpmate. They should know how to cook. They should know how to maintain a home and to assist their husbands wherever it may be, right? Those traits are important traits, and for most cultures, that those lessons are taught from the mothers down to their children, from the grandparents down to their children, their grandchildren. Those lessons are taught. Unfortunately, a lot of African American women grow up in households where it's a single parent household, and they don't see the mother and the father working cohesively together. In a single parent household, maybe there isn't that steady presence of a man, so they just see mom being single most of the time, or mom has a boyfriend this year and next year it's a different guy and the year after that it's a different guy. So they're never seeing being a wife modeled, or how would a wife handle an argument with her spouse. Does she blow things up and kick him out, or escalate the matter, or does she have the tools to resolve it, to work through those things? A lot of us as human beings, we model what we see. That's how we learn. So if we're not seeing faithful, effective relationships in our household, then we don't really have a proper model to resort back to when we get in our own relationships. So his point is a big point, in that a lot of times as older women, some of them grew up in households where being a wife wasn't modeled for them. So my advice to that is mentorship. There are plenty of people in your church who have successfully got married and who have managed to stay together for a long time. There are plenty that are happily married, and there are some that are unhappily married. Find yourself those who are happily married and allow yourself to become an apprentice. Ask them what do they do to keep their marriage intact. Ask them what do they do to handle disagreements, to problem solve. And let that person be a mentor and allow them to teach you those tools that they've used to keep their relationship intact, to keep it productive, and to keep it steady, right? Those are things that could definitely help. Therapy is another advice I would give, is learning how to deal with those things that, hasn't been dealt with in your childhood. If your father was missing and you don't really have his side of the story, seek to formulate a relationship with him. And it's never too late for that to be established, and try to see if something could be worked out there. Again, getting mentorship. Again, being able to communicate your frustrations and to find and discover yourself, finding out who you are, what you've been through, and how it's framed, how you do relationship with people. And then hopefully learning some productive and constructive tools to help you manage yourself when in relationship with a man. Those things would be definitely helpful. Now, I'm not the expert. Like Kevin said, I'm not the expert. I've had some experiences and I do have some opinions. For some, the opinion will be useful. For others, maybe not so much. But I encourage you all to figure out ways to find meaningful, healthy relationships and to stick to them for the sake of your families and your future. Okay, it's Mr. B sharing my thoughts on this week's Kevin Samuels reaction video. I hope you guys find this to be useful. For those who are not connected to the channel, I ask that you like and subscribe and you get connected. Also, I ask that you share the video with others, but also weigh in, comment on the video, share your opinion, and let's get the discussion started. With that said, Until we meet again, keep Jesus Christ, the Lord and Savior of your life. Choose him. God loves you, and you be blessed. All right. We out.